Hey guys, Nichols1000 here, and welcome back to another story. And today we're going to be talking about a fight that happened in my English class last year. So, it's a beautiful day. Probably, I can't really remember honestly. And, I'm just going through my usual school day, all chill, all normal, nothing out of the ordinary at first. But then, I hear from Jacob, like the one that was in Jackson's story, and I don't think he was in any of mine. Yeah, but that was, oh no, he was in my earlier story, but yeah, that Jacob. He tells me that he's gonna fight another Jacob. Now this Jacob, if you want a brief, synopsis on him, not much about him. Smokes weed, has red hair, plays football, fucks around in class. That's pretty much all there is to say about Jacob. But these two Jacobs were gonna fight. So, in all honesty, when I was told this, I didn't think it was gonna happen because for weeks now they've been saying they're gonna fight each other and all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, it's never gonna happen. They're just talking, whatever. But then, from what Jacob was telling me, he sounded like he was pretty serious. So, me being me, I was like, I like to see fights every once in a while. I'm a hooligan, if you want to call it that. But me being me, I wanted to know the details. I wanted to know when this fight was happening, why it was happening, all this stuff. So I made sure I went and checked with Jacob. We're calling him Jacob. We're gonna call him Black Jacob, okay, for now, because the other Jacob is not white. So Black Jacob, as in the one in my other story, I just checked in with him just to make sure that I was correct on this, but he told me that he wanted to fight Jacob because apparently he was sneak dissing, and I'm just gonna take his word for it. I don't know if it actually happened, but I'm just gonna accept what he told me. Now the other Jacob, we'll call him White Jacob. White Jacob wanted to fight Black Jacob because Black Jacob was saying that he was fat and ugly and it's just stuff like that. Apparently he was just talking shit. That's what I was told by White Jacob. So now I'm just kind of chilling around Black Jacob all day just to make sure I catch this. He's kind of changing the details as he goes along when he's gonna fight him. At first he says, I'm gonna fight him, I think right after 5th period. We had 6 periods a day, yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna fight him right after 5th period, just so no one's in the way. We're gonna fight real quick, and that's gonna be it. And then he changed it to like a minute before the bell rings for 5th period, and then he changed it again to like 5 minutes before 5th period ended, and then he changed it again, but this time he didn't tell people, but he changed it to like 10 minutes before the bell was gonna ring. So we're sitting in our English class, and me, Black Jacob, and let's see who else, and Tom all sat in one corner in the back of the room. I don't know why she put all of us in one corner, but that's what she did, but I'm not going to complain. Anyway, so we're all sitting back there, and we're just waiting for this to go down, because at the moment, it's just me, Tom, and Jacob, of course Jacob, who know that this is about to go down at what time. Like, everyone's expecting it to happen, 5 minutes, or later than when it's actually going to happen. The thing is, we're sitting there and, it's probably like 1:15, 1:10, somewhere around there, when we see Hunter walk in. Now, if you don't know who Hunter is the person who beat up Isai. Hunter, chill guy, pretty funny. I'm not going to get into much detail about him, but we see him walk in. And at first, we're like, why is he coming in? And we see him come, and he comes and sits in the desk next to us. And that desk is called the tip desk. Now, tip is called the teacher isolation placement or place or something like that. I can't exactly remember, but pretty much what it is when you're misbehaving, but you're not being bad enough to be sent to ISAP, they pretty much just send you to another teacher's tip, or that teacher's tip. Or if you got in trouble, but not too much trouble, you might be like, oh, okay, you're staying in tip for a whole day or whatever, or for a period. Anyway, so he's in our tip. And that's literally right next to me. And I'm like, once we get back to class, I'm like, get back to learning. I'm like, Hunter, why are you here? And he's like, so I knew the fight was about to go down, so I called the teacher a bitch so she would send me here. And at first I'm like, there's no way. And I'm like, there's no way that he was, he got that lucky that he happened to, just say the right thing to piss the science teacher off for her to send him to this specific classroom. But then he goes on to tell me, so I was in her class and I wasn't planning on actually leaving, but the thing is, she said, if you don't stop, I'm gonna send you to Miss Miller's tip. Me, this is words, he's like, me knowing that the fight's gonna go on, I called her a bitch so I could leave. So he's in there, and it's, again, it's like another, 10 to 15 minutes before this is even gonna go down. and we're just talking, and Jacob's kind of laying out his plan for us and everything, and then we're just ready. Eventually, and he tells us to record it. He tells me to record it because I'm all the way in the corner, and I'm like, cool, got you. So it's now 1:25, and Jacob asks if he can sharpen his pencil, or gets up to sharpen his pencil. I can't remember if this class you had to ask to get up. I don't think you did. But he gets up to sharpen his pencil, and he goes and walks all the way around. He goes, because we're in the far left corner. He goes all the way up that corner, goes up, like turns right, and goes all the way up to the pencil sharpener by the door. The thing is the teacher's having some kind of discussion, so she's not facing him. She's facing our side. For some reason, when she talks, she always faced us. So he's at the pencil sharpener, and he said he's gonna sharpen the pencil and then fight him. So I go, and I reach down to pull on my phone, and I hear him say, "Are you gonna fight me?" And I hear yes, and I'm literally pulling on my phone, and I see Jacob take like 3 steps over there with his pencil out, ready to shank this nigga, and like the fight's on. I don't know if he shanked him. I couldn't really tell, but I doubt he did because there wasn't any shank mark on white Jacob. So they're fighting, and the thing is, the class is dead silent. Half these kids are asleep because this is how boring this class is. Like the first far side row, that whole row is pretty much asleep, and they're fighting over there. That's where white Jacob's at. So they're fighting over there, and at first it's pretty quiet, and they're just fighting, and no one's saying anything. We're just kind of watching it because we didn't really care. And then I think it was black Jacob threw white Jacob against the wall, or it might have been the other way around. But also, that makes a big bang, because these walls aren't like just solid walls. They're like those flimsy ones. Because I don't know if you ever had this, but when you go into a school that at first didn't have walls, they a lot of times replace some of the walls with like really flimsy ones. It's one of those. So they bang against the wall, it makes a loud noise, and the teacher, she still doesn't even realize what's going on. She turns around and she's like, just looks annoyed first. She stares at him for like a good 5 seconds before she even realizes what's happening, that they're just beating the shit out of each other. And she goes, and if you don't know who Mr. Sneezer is, code name, that's the history teacher, just right down the hallway. And in middle school, we had team leaders, and he was our team leader, because you had your team of, because you had 2 7th grade teams, and 2 8th grade teams, 2 6th grade teams. So, like, we had our 8th grade team, and he was the leader of our 8th grade team. So she goes to get him instead of stopping the fight because she's an elderly woman. She's like probably upper 60s. I'm not even sure. Mid to upper 60s. So she's not about to help. She just stands there yelling, "Stop, no!" and just flipping the fuck out. And we're just kind of sitting there chilling. And the thing is like, she's still yelling for people to get Mr. Snyder. And okay, like I said, the people by the door were like all sleeping, and I wasn't about to get up. I ain't about to miss this. So there's one girl named Sammy. She's sleeping. She wakes up to her yelling, and she goes smack on Isai, and she's like, "Go get Mr. Snyder." She's like talking all like broken because she's still asleep, and Isai was asleep too. So this nigga wakes up to like them fighting, and Isai's like, "What?" And so he gets up and go and gets Mr. Snyder. Mr. Snyder comes in, and pretty much once he walks in, they just stop fighting because you just don't want to mess with Mr. Snyder. As you saw from Jackson's video, if you watched it, you just don't want to mess with them. It's just a bad idea. I've gotten destroyed by him many times. But anyway, he comes in, they're pretty much done fighting, and he has Isai and this kid named Mark escort each one of them to the office. And then he doesn't go apparently, or maybe he comes back after like really quickly, but he comes back into our room, and he's like, "At least Jacob won." And at first we're all like, what is this kid talking about? And then we realize that he just told like the shittiest pun of 2016, that he's trying to be like the next Jimmy Kimmel. And it was like 3 of us laughed just because like we wanted to kill ourselves. I wasn't one of them, surprisingly. Apparently back then I didn't have that many suicidal thoughts. But after he leaves, I assume we're all good, that everything's gonna go back to normal, and we're just gonna continue class because we still have a little bit of time left. So Mr. Sneezer leaves, and Miss Miller just kind of is sitting there talking to us about fighting and stupid stuff, and nothing important really. And then Hunter, right after she finished talking, rips the biggest fart of like existence. Like he just, like, I'm pretty sure he pooped himself. I'm like almost 100% sure he pooped himself. And Miss Miller just kind of gives him a dirty look, but I guess she didn't really feel like getting into him because we just had a fight, and there's more important things to talk about than some kid farting in the back room. But we all had a good chuckle with that. That's pretty much it. They go to the office, they get suspended for 3 days or whatever, and I think this was right before spring break. So the thing is they got suspended for like the last like a day or two before spring break, and then they came back like a couple days after spring break ended. So they actually did get to keep their 8th grade week and everything, because it happened like right before they start the thing. Before they started 8th grade week. So, guys, I think that's pretty much it for the story. Jacob, you see this, I hope I got the details 100% right. I might have gotten some things wrong. If I did, just send me a text and I will correct them in the next video. Anyway, guys, I think that's it. If you haven't already, check out the Axe experience and the movie theater story. I think that's it. And goodbye.